Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our country has to offer, especially health care. Across every state, every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care. Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, then we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Sunday morning. With us today is Paul Zuber, and he's the Senior Vice President of Business Council of New York State, and his nickname, the Voice of Reason. Well, Paul Zuber, what the heck is going on? Are we going to be able to stay in business in New York State and New York City?
John, I don't know because, there's this interesting fight going on in Albany because over the climate law. And just recently, there was a group of, I believe it's 23 New York State senators informed the governor that they refuse to make any changes to the climate law. And, to me, this is the perfect example of what frustrates the people out there, the average everyday person, because the governor's own agency came out with a report and they asked their agency, okay, look at how much this climate law is going to cost us now that the world's changed and everything's changed. And what they said was, you can expect gasoline on top of what you're paying for gas at the pump to go up an additional $2.23 per gallon. So on top of what you're paying, you're going to pay additional $2.23. If you live upstate and you use oil or gas, your costs are going to exceed $4,000 a year in extra costs. And if you're in New York City and you use natural gas, it's going to exceed $2,300 a year in extra costs. And this is a perfect example to me of, okay, the law doesn't work. So what's wrong with going back and fixing it to make it work for the everyday person? Because if you're telling the everyday person that they're now going to have to pay on top of what they're paying an extra $2.23 a gallon, think about it. If you own a small car and the small car takes 12 gallons of gas, that means you're paying in excess of $26 extra on top of what it's already costing you to fill your car. If you have a mid-sized car and it does 16 gallons, you're paying an extra over $35. And if you do the math, you're costing people, if you fill your car up once a week, which most people fill it up twice a week, it's costing you an extra over $107 more if you have a small car and over $142 more if you have a mid-sized car. So how are you helping the working class New Yorkers who have to get in their car every day and drive to work and provide for their family? How are you helping them if you're unwilling to fix a law that the governor's own agency says is going to cost you this much more to the average consumer? It really kind of is upsetting to me that we don't look at things in terms of what the average person has to do and in terms of what they have to go through to get through life. And, this is a perfect example. I'm just beside myself that people aren't saying, okay, we need to fix it. No one's saying to completely scrap it. But what we're saying is there's other forms of energy like clean natural gas, nuclear, other things that you need to look at. You need to kind of look at it with a above all kind of a strategy and stop going down this insane path as far as I'm concerned.
I agree with you. That's why I gave you the nickname, the Voice of Reason. I mean, right now, we're limited that we could only build. We're in the real estate business, besides other businesses.
Yeah.
We could only build apartment houses with 99 apartments. Otherwise, the penalties and the costs are prohibitive. So
Yep.
what you're doing is you're making us saying, well, let's not do anything and put the land in inventory and come back to it someday.
Well, John, again, that's another choice. It's not working, right? So it's okay. You passed a bill and it didn't work, right? So fix it, right? Like, because to your point, and we're hearing it a lot from developers, right? They build it up to 99 and then they're done, right? But meanwhile, everybody's clamoring, well, why isn't there more housing? Why isn't there more this, right? But you've created a situation where you're forcing people to do the complete opposite of what you want them to do. Okay, then fix it.
And
I
the
don't
other thing
understand.
is with the Mayor Mondani, who had a meeting with President Trump, and President Trump will give him unlimited amount of money for affordable housing. But I guess he has to cooperate with President Trump. So it's up to the two of them to do the right thing for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's where like I always think about it with my kids, right? Like eventually, when anybody has kids, you just tell them when they break something or do something, just fix it, right? Just fix it, right? You want your kids to use common sense. So why can't we just use common sense when we see things aren't working? It's okay to raise your hand and say, okay, I made a mistake. But I always teach my kids, when you make a mistake, you have to learn how to fix it. So go ahead and fix it. And so, like you talked about with the 99, apartments that you're limiting, like what I'm talking about with the climate law. I mean, we could go on and on and on and on about things that are done, and particularly things that were done during the COVID pandemic that just don't work anymore. And everybody is just so stuck in the mud, like they don't want to take blame for it. They're worried about what people just fix it. I think that's all the American public wants. They just want you to fix it. Like the point of blame, we're past the point of blame. Like we, blame Republicans, blame Democrats, blame whoever. Just fix it. And I think that's what we want. And, hopefully the legislature will work with the governor and fix the climate law. I mean, to her credit, she's taken a lot of heat from the environmental movement for wanting to fix it. But, look, I give her credit for raising her hand and saying, oops, this isn't working. So let's move on and try to find a way that it works for everybody. And, it's just, common sense sometimes gets lost, with the politics, and it's unfortunate.
Understood. Well, thank you so much for coming on this Sunday morning, and let's keep praying for common sense, and let's keep praying for our city and our state. Thank you so much.
I'm going to church right now to pray for it, John.
I'll be there next to you.
All right, thanks.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best our nation has to offer, especially when it comes to healthcare. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families' health. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.